Einen wunderschönen guten Morgen, meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, Ladies and Gentlemen, participants, delegates, volunteers, students, visitors, professionals of the immersive media who've made a good decision to show up for the first Frameless Forum of the 17th Jena Photo Festival today. And I welcome the audience who's made it into the dome early in the morning. I mean, it's only 2 p.m. And also I welcome everybody who's watching in the worldwide internet, which may be thousands on uncountable continents who have decided to tune in into this beautiful session. So, we'll have great presenters today, and I'm really proud and happy to have our visitor from Sweden, Ahmed Boruticene. That was pretty close, at least. Please come up and tell us what's exciting about the Artist in Residence program at the university in Sweden. And I'll ask the audience to give Ahmed a roaring round of applause for his presentation.
Danke, Miki. Das ist wunderbar, hier sein. I continue the tradition, maybe. Mein Name ist Ahmed Boruticene. Ja, ich komme aus Schweden und heute werde über das Artist in Residence sprechen. Okay, my German ends here, don't worry. The presentation will be in English. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I am here, so maybe I should first introduce myself. Harsh right there. Okay, my name is Ahmed Boruticene, and I am working in Sweden at Linköping University. And there I am doing design research and teaching, more specifically in interaction design and visualization. And today I am here to talk about a project I co-managed together with my colleagues from Norrköping, Sweden, where my office really is, you see here. And I will also talk about briefly, the project is an artist in residence program. And I will also talk about the results of this briefly in this presentation, which is on Nade, a FullDome movie that will be shown here on Saturday at 3 o'clock if I studied my homework well, like I looked at the program. Okay, cool. So I come from Norrköping, a small town like Weimar, more or less. Maxi has been there actually, so she knows that. I'm working at the university in the building on the right, far in the image. And the visualization center is just across me, actually. Just, between there is the Great Bridge, you see. And the visualization center is where our dome is, hidden in this image because it doesn't have the dome shape, but it is actually right to the Great Bridge that you see. It's an old industrial building. So who knows how many hidden domes there are around the world, by the way, if you think. Good. So the dome in Norrköping is technically one of the most advanced dome theaters in the world. And this theater is really in the core, is a core piece in the visualization center. And the visualization center is also internationally renowned, together with researchers at Linköping University that are doing research on computer graphics for its cutting-edge research in that field. Alongside showing dome movies, they also ran exhibitions open to public that has popular science content. And Visualization Center is also great at producing popular science content, mostly FullDome movies. My colleague Anna Öst and the production team there actually have been currently working on a series of FullDome movies funded by Wallenberg Foundation within the Wisdom Project. Wisdom Project is a network of domes in Sweden. There are some under construction right now, and 3 of them are already there. And two of these movies has been already produced, actually, and one, the Making Magic, that you see on the 360 screen, actually won several awards. We think that the key to the success that we had at the Visualization Center was the collaboration between researchers and the production team there. Because scientific research, as I mentioned from the Linköping University Research on Computer Graphics, actually is the starting point for the whole center. And this has been a great advantage in terms of knowledge exchange between production team and researchers. And I guess the unique thing with the Visualization Center is that it's both a public facility, but at the same time a research platform in this sense. Okay, so great so far. And we said, so what could be the next step here? And then with this question actually came into the stage, the idea of introducing artistic research in this space. And the aim was to expand our knowledge on how to use this unconventional display surface and this collective, spatial, deeply engaging environment to create better DOM experiences, but also attract diverse audiences. I'm lucky to work with people who share these kind of ambitions. So my colleague Anna Öst, who is a freelance producer in Norrköping, and Jonas Löfgren, my close colleague from the university, researcher in interaction design, again, and visualization. So we teamed up together also with Sandra Wall from Norrköping Municipality Business Office, and applied to the funding, to the local funding that is granted by the municipality each year for research projects undertaken in Norrköping. And we wanted to establish an artist in residency for immersive art in the Dome at the Visualization Center. And to our knowledge, this is the first of its kind in the Nordic region. Immersive art is not a new thing. I guess this audience is familiar with Dome experiences and productions. Artistic experiences in the Dome offer a great opportunity to look at this space I mentioned, collective, spatial, and immersive, deeply engaging Dome environment with fresh and explorative eyes. Norrköping is a small but a great place to undertake this kind of initiatives, and there are two reasons for that we observed. One, on the one hand, we have this high-tech Dome at the Visualization Center. And on the other hand, Norrköping is a city recognized by UNESCO. It's a member of the Creative Cities Network as a city of music. So there we have this high-tech scene and a vibrant music culture. So how about combining these two strengths of Norrköping into an artist in residence and see what kind of immersive works come out from this combination, visualization and music? And our aim, as I said, was to introduce artistic ways of research and production in the Dome to produce new knowledge about this visual and interactive vocabulary of these Dome environments, because it is a new thing and we are still to explore what we can do here. And we got the grant, that's the nice thing. So we actually set up an artist in residence. You see there some highlights from the setup. And we invited two artists, one visual artist and one musician, because of the idea of combining visualization and music. And they came to Norrköping. They worked 4 months together last year, and they created an immersive piece, which is a FullDome movie called Omnade. And we also carried out live performances of this with a world premiere at the Visualization Center. I would like to briefly introduce the artists that worked on this piece and in the artist in residence. Here you see Natalia Oliwiak, who is a visual artist and FullDome filmmaker from Poland. And she has several movies, FullDome movies, in her portfolio, and also she undertook doctoral studies in fine arts, which I will talk about in a second because it's related to the vision that she proposed for our open call when we initiated the artist in residence. And the music artist in residence is Johan Lundberg. He's a musician and composer, trained as jazz guitarist, actually. And I guess that tells something about the improvisation aspect of the performances that he did for Omnate. Here you see the project timeline that we had. It started with publishing the open calls, one for visual artists, to seek visual artists, and the other one for musicians, composers. A jury reviewed and evaluated the applications for both calls. And then there is the second block where two artists came to Norrköping and started working together on the project. This involved a research phase, the exploration phase in Norrköping, and then a production phase, and of course a number of public screenings, experiences. And also as the project team, we had weekly meetings with Natalia and Johan to bounce off ideas and to see actually what to do. In the block 3, so the artist in residence was between May and September, and then in September we held several public screenings, and these were all were public live performances, including the premiere. And from the artist's arrival to Norrköping and to their departure, but even after that, there was the research part for us, where we, as I said, had weekly meetings with the artists to observe the creative process and to understand how they work. But also our aim was to study the performances that have been done at the Visualization Center. So studying the final work and also interviewing audiences to understand what kind of audience experience Omnate offers. And finally, we allocated some time to evaluate what we did and also possible continuation. I will talk about this also in a bit. Okay, so finally together in Norrköping, they worked for 4 months, from May to September, and they created Omnate, which you will have the chance to see on Saturday, as I said. And the film actually aims to provide a meditative experience, which, as I said, goes back to Natalia's actually masters back then, where she actually was interested in creating therapeutic art or using art for therapy. And she prepared these round images, and actually that was a passage for her to Dome filmmaking and Dome productions. And also in her application, in the open calls, we had asked for artist vision, and the vision that she had shared with us was about using footages from nature around Norrköping and creating spherical visualizations of them, manipulating some kind of kaleidoscopic visuals and visions of that. I think I talked about some of these along the way. I'm reading my notes here. Relaxing therapeutic character, immersive experience, escape from the surrounding reality was one aim. Oh, yes. An important part of this project and vision was recordings from nature. And when Natalia was on board, when she was selected by the jury for her vision, we published the call for to seek musicians. And Johan was selected for the project because he had experience and he has this approach of doing field recordings and very much into doing field studies and out there in the wild. And really, these two artists actually were matching perfectly in this sense, in terms of what they wanted to achieve. Here you can see some concept art that Natalia prepared, sketched in the early stages of their joint work process. And she used a macro lens and the fisheye lens and the 360 camera to produce images. And these are some tests that she did to understand what kind of spherical visualizations can be created by using these raw footages. And here you can see some of the equipment she used. In terms of software, I think like nothing surprising. I mean, traditional Adobe software and Insta360. So when they arrived in Norrköping in the exploratory phase, they went around the city and they did several shootings and field audio recordings. These are some places that they visited. They started recording in June after getting familiar with the city a little bit. And there were some challenges, of course. For example, some things that you would not expect maybe to have, you know, while you are making a dome movie, because they were outside in the wild, and they were trying to, first of all, moving very slow with the equipment, the camera, especially to create like something decent and non-vomitable in the dome. But also, I guess this translated into the final work because it requires some kind of meditative state in its own sense. Another story from these trips is mosquitoes, not to belittle, because Natalia had really, she told us like difficult moments when they were coming, she couldn't move. You know, it was very embodied, all this process. I'm telling this as if I was there, but I just listened to these accounts from Natalia and Johan. It sounded super realistic, and I think that's what they encountered, really. I mentioned this, by the way, that I was not there, because during this work, out there and throughout the process, there were only Natalia and Johan. So they worked together, they were a duo, and they went everywhere together, but there wasn't any other crew. I think this is... maybe this says something about the movie itself, and maybe also shows how productions might be undertaken or made or executed for dome instead of more traditional approaches like using CGI, computer graphics, or, you know, sitting at the desk. So this movie actually was the other way around. So it started in the field and then went towards the desk. Maybe there is a difference in terms of the content produced here, in terms of embodiment. And also, I very much feel like the approach that they had, maybe similar to, you know, Novelvag and, I know, maybe Dogma, those kind of waves or currents where small equip, small troop, small groups, you know, basic equipment, but potentially strong outcomes, strong results. Yeah, they had some fun and challenges, I guess. So shoelaces to do some footage underwater. And also, of course, since Johan was recording the audio, Natalia had to be silent, but also Johan had to be outside the frame because she was using 360 camera and stuff. So there were those kind of challenges. And of course, there was nobody to close the roads on sites or something like that. These are some footages, raw footages that she took. Selecting footage among, I guess, like, I know, maybe 1,000 clips or something, of course, like, is challenging. And replaying them in the dome with a technician and then trying to understand if they work or not is actually really a big challenge. And this is something we noticed throughout this process in terms of research. like in terms of production processes, that process needs to be interfaced somehow with some tools or techniques. Okay, and these are macro tests, which means manipulation of images from macro recordings, macro footages, and transitions with them as well. A dramatic structure. This is an interesting aspect, I think, of the movie. So during our weekly meetings, we were bouncing off ideas and we were talking about how the work, was going, how they were thinking, what was their vision, etc. And there wasn't any scenario really there, any story or anything, any narrative. But we talked about this dramatic structure sketched here that you saw, like something that starts with real images, like from real world, and then it gets abstract, more and more abstract. And it has like a central point where everything is abstract, like images and footages. And then like it goes back to reality. But other than this, the whole narrative or non-narrative, if you will, emerged during their trips around Norrköping and during their recordings. So I guess this is also an interesting aspect, like some kind of emerging narrative as you record, as you produce, which is probably not the traditional way of approaching a dome movie production. We had some dome tests and rehearsals, of course. This is like the dome we have in Visualization Center. And yeah, we became some kind of, 15 minutes of fame we had because they put the image on the left to a screensaver in all the university. So our colleagues were opening their computers and seeing us. It was interesting. So many technical problems, as you can imagine, like with the computer and stuff. And these are screenshots from the movie. I talked about Johan, like field recording of natural sound sources, like he's very much interested in, and he uses this to compose. So many of these recordings were actually manipulated alongside the composition. So they became, what I want to say is that they became compositional elements, like in the musical piece. And also, like, he used this hanger for, I think, binaural sounds. And this is a couple of pictures from his field recording in Yeto. And this is a rock and roll picture of two artists that Natalia composed. Actually, they were two separate images, but I wanted to show it here. Okay, I think I have, I don't know how many minutes do I have. I would like to conclude. Open Q&A, maybe just in 2 minutes. Okay, thank you. So the project went really, really well. The artists in residence and our artists were really happy, as long as they told us. And the movie, the residency resulted in Omneid. You will watch that. And we showed it so far. I think we ran 6 shows. One abroad, actually now 2 abroad, like in Germany and Belgium, Groningen. And then we had, of course, like the world premiere in Norrköping and like other performances there. And so far, all these were live performances. Here you will see it like a pre-recorded version, I think, which will be exciting as the performance. Yes, the last show we showed it in Malmö, and you can see some pictures from the premiere, just to get a feeling of the movie. These are our artists, and this was from a workshop that they ran. One thing maybe, as I like scroll the images, that I can say for us in this residency, not only the final result was important, but also connection with the local community in Norrköping, especially music community and creative communities. So we asked our artists in residence also to run workshops around their creative process and what technologies they use and how they approach this kind of production. And they held like 3 workshops, which was also well attended. There are some pictures. Okay. Yes. So continuation of the residency, final words. So we have just based on this, something we can call pilot, but a successful pilot, Artist in Residence now, we want to continue this in Norrköping and possibly maybe also extending it to the Wisdom Network in Sweden. And we applied to the Swedish Research Council grant within artistic research, and we will get the notification in November. You know, grants are always a lottery, but we bought the ticket, so we will see. We are looking forward to collaborations. Please feel free to chat with me here. I'm open. I would like to hear what you think. Let's talk, and I guess that's it. Thank you so much for being an attentive and 360 audience. Ooh. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Ahmed. Very, very beautiful. It's, I think it's great to hear for all of you who are interested in research projects that there is a artist in residence project. And Sweden, I hear from Maximiliane, is a great place to go. And Anna Öst, we know, is also a great lady. So thank you. Bring greetings from the Dome community to Norrköping. And if anybody wants to hear more about the application process, check out Ahmed. He'll be around. Yes.
Yes, yeah. And I will be here until Saturday morning, so please, I like talking to people. So.
Yes. And we'll have Omnate being presented as a film on Saturday. It's in the film program, unfortunately without the live music, maybe for another time, but it's there. So you can relate what he's been explaining to what you're going to see on Saturday. Great. Thank you again. Unless you want someone else to inherit your computer, you should better take it. Because, of course, that's not the end of our this afternoon's program. Next on the program is our friend from Taiwan, Corbett Wall. Please join us here. Yeah, welcome him, the man from the hills. Yeah, put your computer there. Now, I was surprised by being gifted a T-shirt last night, and the choice of what T-shirt to wear today was fairly easy. Because they came all the way from Taiwan and brought their own T-shirts and gave me one. So I'm so proud to be wearing this T-shirt. And so, Corbett, this is so amazing that you'll present to us a project that you'll actually see being performed tonight with performers who are young and from Taiwan and come from a village of 200 people. And this we very much like, because usually the FullDome community here in the Dome is also just 200 people. So they can feel at home. Please welcome Corbett Wall and tell us all about what the project is and what we're going to see tonight at the performance. Corbett.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor. I'm just going to take a second to play with my computer and get everything in. Plus also, this is the way that we take some time so that the performers can come in quietly. And you're not supposed to notice them, okay? Which was fascinating yesterday. So I met an alien. And what's interesting is, let's see, in the village I have a nickname, which in Chinese is Wai Xingyuan, which means alien. Which is actually a term of endearment, because one day I scared all the kids out of their wits. I put foil on my head and I had wires coming out, and so now they refer to me. Every little kid in the village is Wai Xingyuan, Wai Xingyuan. Okay, so now I have to get HDMI going here. Okay, let's see how we're doing. It's really an honor. I mean, we're so excited to be here, and we're a little bit jet lagged, so it may not come out that we're excited. We may look more tired than we are excited. But let's see if I can get HDMI going. This is perfect, Mohammed. We need as much time as possible to get our folks in here. This is the first time, being in Taiwan, I've traveled in 4 years. And before, my life was 90% traveling around the world, and then suddenly being in a village of 200 people was quite a culture shock. But because of COVID, it gave us this amazing chance to learn about life in the village. Okay? 你们还好吗? Okay? Well, let's see. Oh, we still don't have... I have HDMI. You need USB? Okay. And USB will have sound as well? I have a USB adapter if you need one. Would that be better? Well, first, I want to say hello to everybody. In Chinese, it's ni hao. My name is Corbett Wall, and I come from the United States, but I've been in Asia for the past 30-something years. Our group and I, we've come all the way from Taiwan to be here at the FullDome and share our new work with you, which is called Zhou 175586 Little Warrior. Now, this 175586 number has a meaning because about 10 or 15 years ago, there was a discovery from the planetarium near where we live, very high, 3,800 meters high. And the first thing they discovered after they built the planetarium was an asteroid somewhere between Jupiter and Saturn. And they honored the people in the region, okay? They honored the people in the region by calling this discovery the Zhou asteroid. And when I first heard that story, I was really fascinated by this whole concept of taking something from space to say something ancient, and how do we combine it. So today I will try to share the story a little bit about how we came to this project, how we did the production, a little bit about the Dome community in Taiwan, which we started with. And there we are. Wonderful. Okay. So the 175586 is an actual scientific, real thing where maybe your aliens yesterday came from. I'm not quite sure. But we're so honored, and we're so excited to be here today. I'll talk a little bit how we got into FullDome, as I mentioned, and I'll also talk about the production of this piece. The story is a retelling of an indigenous Zhou legend that was passed down orally because they don't have written writing. It was passed down orally from generation to generation over, I've heard hundreds of years, I've heard thousands of years, I don't know, but it's somewhere between those two numbers. And I first heard it from an elder in the village and was intrigued by the possibility of taking an ancient story and using technology in a new way to tell the story. And I kept wondering, could we do this as a dome piece? And so I guess that's how the creative process works. It begins with trying to figure out how to tell a story. And so I'll quickly tell our story. My wife and I, and you'll probably meet her later on, have been involved in goodwill and creative projects the whole time we've been together. And this included things from an intercultural youth orchestra in New York City to a children's performing arts workshop in Taiwan, to supporting a school in Yunnan, China, to even a monastery in Tibet. We've been doing all sorts of things, and we're kind of set on a path, I suppose, of doing these interesting and meaningful things for the past 30-something years. And a few years ago, we launched a NGO called Being Present Youth Support. And this NGO that we established just to encourage young people from different backgrounds to fully explore their possibilities and develop their potential. This slide that you see here, which you don't see here, there we go. Okay, this is the island of Taiwan. And that little circle that you see right in the middle of Taiwan is an area called Alishan, which I'll describe in a second. So, as I was saying, we set up this NGO, and this momentum and energy led us by fate to that little place. And it's a beautiful mountainous village in central Taiwan called Laiji is the name of the village. And it's a very small village, as Mickey said, about 200 people live there. And so I'm very happy to be included in your village now. This is really, really exciting for us. So It's one of 9 indigenous tribes in this area called Ali Shan. And the people who live in this area are called Zhou. And there are about 6,000 Zhou people in Taiwan. Besides being a beautiful area, deep in the mountains, this area is deeply rooted in Zhou traditions and culture, which we just found really fascinating once we arrived. And I'll try to share a glimpse into their culture and the beauty of this area in a very quick collage. Would there be any sound by chance? But that's okay. One of our NGO's key mission is promoting arts and technology. We believe strongly in art tech. And after we entered the village, we felt that cross-cultural exchanges with artists from all around the world was really a good way to celebrate and share this culture that we discovered here. But we needed a space to do this, so we built, and I'll show you here in a second, we built a experimental theater way up in the mountains. It's a multi-purpose geodesic dome for our art tech activities, and we donated it to the village, and we called this space Modus, art space. And modus in Latin, if anybody speaks Latin, is Latin for action and initiative. And I'll play here briefly a little bit about this. I'll provide the music. So we laid the slab, and as you can see, this is a very modest dome. It's about 10 meters wide, 5 meters high. And it was quite difficult getting it up there. And there was no electricity, of course, so we needed to use our car lights to finish the project. So the birth of a dome. And up there, I come from an executive background, and for me to really put my hands in the dirt and dig up things and build things was really exciting. And here we are. Of course, we had some friends. The frogs came in. They liked the space. And that's our dome on opening day. The project that we did was a graffiti workshop. And so our first action, as I said, modus, the term means action, was doing a digital graffiti wall, which is a collaboration with artists from Canada as well as local indigenous artists, which you just saw. And that gives you an idea of the initial idea that we had when we started this. The locals call this dome, Madi. Okay, that's the local indigenous word. And Madi in the local language means ball. And we really liked that this name since it really represented our ideals of circular and encompassing and sustainable. So our next action was turning this ball into a full dome theater. So I had about 300 bars of different sizes and what have you, and we had to build up a screen, and we had to get it sewn, and we had to do all this crazy stuff to actually make it work. And the whole idea was using art and technology to spread the Zhou culture to a broader audience. So I reached out to creators from around the world for our first FullDome Festival, which featured films from 6 different countries, one of which we produced about Zhou hunters and their special relationship with the forest. I'll show you the... in the background, there's some indigenous music and trees whispering and all sorts of interesting things, if you can just use your imagination.
Yeah, we all hear it.
So this was our first film festival. And if you saw the dates there, it lasted for a while. And if you looked at the date closely, we did this right at the beginning of COVID, and which was absolutely crazy, but it worked. The whole village came out to support us, and people drove up from the city. It's a 4.5-hour drive to get where we are. And this experience really taught us a lot, especially one thing about faith and believing what you're doing. You don't ever have doubt. You just have to keep going. And we really started to feel the power and presence of the Zhou sacred mountain there, which is called Tasan. In one of those photos, you might have seen the mountain there. Tasan, as I said, is a sacred mountain of the Zhou. And it felt as if this mountain was leading us along this journey that we were taking. Whenever we encountered some difficulty, we would kind of look at Tasan, which is right there every day, and say, what are we going to do? How do we figure this out? Is it going to stop raining? Will we get funding? The questions that anybody in this FullDome community asks themselves. Will the electricity go back on? Whatever problem that we had, the path always seemed to get cleared. And so that's what really taught me about believing that things can happen, because I fully believe now, after being there for 5 years, that when you believe something's going to happen, and you just make it happen. So I'll share with you a little bit about the next thing that we did, which is our first festival setup here. It was a giant DIY project. So the whole village came out. Food is very important, so got to feed everybody. And what was amazing was it kept raining, and we had sponsors coming, and the rain just never stopped, and we didn't know what to do. And nobody wanted to say it, but everyone's kind of saying this is going to be a disaster. And then we got a call in the morning from one of the hunters, and he said to us, "The birds are chirping." And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" And he said, "Well, it's going to stop raining. Just believe it." And so we're all there, and we're looking at the clouds. And if you saw there was some motion on the ground with bamboo. That was the local elders blessing this project and blessing the ground. And as soon as they did that, in about 30 seconds, the clouds cleared up. And we just looked up there. And everyone, you could feel this enormous joy and relief. No one said everything. They kept going, and we're putting things down, and we're setting things up and pulling wires and what have you. But it stopped raining. And we're just amazed. And it had been raining for weeks. And then the most beautiful thing was 2 eagles flew out of the mountain, and they just came and circled us 2 or 3 times. And we just looked at this thing and said, this can't be really happening. Thank you so much. But that's the power of, I think, when you believe in something, and I believe that this place wanted this to get done. So city people started to come up, and they saw that what we were doing, and they were very interested in this, and we were asked by the county government to create a week-long dome festival in the city. And that's when we did our second festival, which featured 17 works from 14 different countries. And it also gave us the opportunity to promote the indigenous artists that we supported. Being in the village, we had learned a few things because COVID gave us this amazing opportunity to not go anywhere. I don't know what it was like here in Germany, but we just didn't go anywhere, which was perfectly fine for us because we're in the mountains. We don't wear masks. Every day is just the same as normal. And we began to feel more deeply rooted with life in the village, and we began seeing and learning what village life was really about, and then what being an indigenous person meant to them, and what was happening, more importantly, to their culture and their young people, and how they were struggling to preserve all this from their language to their traditions to their stories. So during this time, we also met a very talented young indigenous artist named Danivu. And we saw her potential and began supporting her to develop that potential. And she's actually here today to premiere her film. So as I mentioned, the city people came up and they asked us to do a, here you go, this is what it looks like. And then they came and they asked us to do a festival. And we did our second festival, and you'll see some works here. For this festival, I reached out to different FullDome creators all around the world and discovered the work of a very talented young woman, who I'll mention in just a second. So as I mentioned, we reached out to creators all around the world, looking for something that really felt curated and felt like the spirit of what we're doing. And we discovered the work of a young woman named Maxi Nerschel. And Maxi actually speaks pretty good Chinese. And I just wanted to share that with all of you here. If you see this clip, okay, she did a promotion for us. Here we go. Okay, let's see if you, come on, Maxi, you can say this. She is speaking Chinese, trust me. Yes. She's saying, come everybody to see my work at this festival in Chinese. I really liked Maxi's design sensibility and animation, and shortly after this festival, I brought up the idea of doing a collaboration with Danivu, who I just mentioned, which was a young indigenous artist. I felt that Danivu could do the artwork, and Maxi could do the motion design. And so that's how this whole thing started. And I had this story that I had heard about this indigenous legend that it just needed to be told, and now we could actually get it done. It was just like unfolding, like creativity does. It just happens. And so the next slide I'm going to show you is, I believe, this is Danivu. I mentioned the young artist. Danivu, could you come up wherever you are? Where are you? So this was the first time. Hi, Danivu. So as I mentioned, Danivu was like a gem in the village. We heard her singing someday. That was the first time I had no idea. She was our neighbor. But my wife, Irene, had seen some of her artwork. A friend said, oh, she's an artist. And then we saw that, and that just happened. And this was the first time Danivu had ever attempted to do something like this. As you can tell, it's going from a flat screen to a circular screen. And so I know it was a big challenge. So I'll let Danivu talk a little bit of what a challenge it was for her.
我最大的困难就是要把正方形的平面转换成360度的圆形。
You got that, right? So what she said was the hardest part was how to go from a flat screen to a 360 round image and getting past that, a 16 by 9 situation and going to something 360.
我需要把一个网，一个铁网这样子放在我的头上，然后这样子看，然后才可以知道哦，这个要这样长，哦，这个要这样长。
So she went to IKEA and she bought a giant bowl. And she would look at that bowl and kind of think about, okay, how would this work? And that's how she figured out the angles and the perspective and the distortion.
就很开心可以做这个影片，对。 对，
And she's really happy to be able to create this film, which we're going to show tonight. Anything else? Ayoma. She says, no more, please. Okay. Thanks, Daniel. Well, now, as I mentioned, I'd like to welcome Maxi, which many of you, of course, know. Maxi, if you can come up and say a few words about how this all started.
Thank you. It all started with an email from you, I think. Someone from Taiwan asking me if I would be excited to be part of this international collaboration, and I was pretty excited. In the beginning, to be honest, I was like, okay, this is a big call. Is this really going to happen? But here we are. So really an amazing journey. And yeah, my role then was to take the amazing artwork from Daniwu that was sent to me on a Google Drive and then bring it all into After Effects and make it come to life and do the motion design. And then we had feedback loops sending parts of the film from Germany to Taiwan and back, and they were always checking in their dome if it looks good, as I didn't have a dome at home. And like this, somehow it all came together. And here we are today.
Here we are today, yes. Thank you, Maxi. Well, as Maxi said, things just started rolling, and the artwork was very vivid, and the motion looked fantastic. And I was just starting to think about the music and the sound design when, again, Maxi, I call her the FullDome angel. She said she just happened to have a friend who is now my friend. And she had shown the animation to her friend, and he said, hey, you know, I'm kind of interested. I'd like to, maybe we can collaborate on this. And so I'd like to invite David. David will talk. He came very far. I know you took a very early train this morning. Thank you for being here, David.
A little bit tired today. Thank you very much. Yeah, Maxi called me and said, yeah, I have a project. And yeah, I did the sound and the atmospheric sound and the sound design. And yeah, just one example, I started with the Alp Symphony of Richard Strauss. And yeah, on vinyl. And then after many things, like a loop machine and that kind of stuff, yeah, I made the atmosphere of the piece. You can listen to it later on. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, David. So we had a lot of conversations, and David and I were talking about what it could sound like, and I'm a musician as well, and so when two musicians start talking, it's just kind of like one language. And we wanted this to sound, and hopefully you'll hear it tonight and come and hear, but it couldn't sound like an 808, or it couldn't sound like a Yamaha synth, or it couldn't sound like a guitar. It needed to sound like you went to 175586 and what it would sound like there. So there were natural sounds, there were man-made sounds, there were all sorts of things. And again, thank you, David, so much. So I want you to see this slide. And just like that, just like it was meant to be, this project happened. It's been an amazing, rewarding collaboration with very fun and creative people. And it's a modern retelling of an ancient story. And this is only all possible because we believed in the power of creation and collaboration across cultures. And I really want to thank all of you, really, from the bottom of my heart, for your amazing talent. Thank you, David. Thank you, Maxi. And for your trust and your faith to bring this project to life. It's something very, very meaningful, giving us the opportunity to share the Zhou culture and to a wider audience, and to bring an amazing group of performers from the mountain tribe all the way from Taiwan to here for a live performance tonight. So I think I've spoken enough. It's an honor for me now to introduce our Zhou friends from the tribe of 200 people in Taiwan. The first person I'd like to introduce is Mo, is Wei Yuan. And Wei Yuan, 要不要说几句话？
阿彪彪，大家好，我来自 I come from Taiwan 阿里山。好， 我是的州语名字叫 Mo'o Vayayana， 今天我的本职是牧师退休以后，我现在在政府机关，就是原住民族委员会担任州主的族群委员，我非常热爱我自己的族群所以我在教会服务之外呢，我常常在我们的部落为我们的族人服务所以我的跨领域呢，我做过政治人物，也做过这个民间团体的负责人。那我最热爱的还是文化艺术啦所以我最喜欢木雕这个木雕那么今天非常荣幸有机会跟着我们的团队，陪着我们州族年轻的艺术家，我们的丹尼夫来到德国约拿来参加这个穹顶艺术节希望借着这样的机会，把我们的文化带给我们大家，让大家认识我们阿里山的州族。谢谢大家。阿维维有给我说。
Thank you, thank you. The next person I'd like to invite, and we'll just make them very short, and as you notice, there's a translation as well, is our Bulo Zushi, so our head of our village council. Zushi?
Hello， 大家好，我是Sayue Diakiana， 我来自台湾阿里山来吉部落。今天很高兴能够来到耶拿这个地方。在多年以前，我的小孩子因为求学离家后，我心里有一个想法，就是默默在我心里面滋长，就是等于是说，我们到底有什么是可以让我们的孩子觉得我们身为州族人是骄傲的？那慢慢的思考下，也渐渐的发觉，祖先留给我们的一切，无疑是最美好、最被需要传承下来的珍贵资产，因为它是独一无二。那么后来我就选择了学习我们族人以往与大自然共存的一些相关知识，并且在生活中分享给任何需要的人。也欢迎大家，如果有机会的话，能够来到台湾我的故乡阿里山，认识州族的文化，也看见州族的美。别
谢谢主席。The next person I'd like to invite up, just to say a quick introduction, is the head of our, on this side right here? Oh, okay. Is Voy Lao Shi, who is the singing coach and the head of our singing group.
这是个话术，我们有正义性，我们有Voy Diakiana。我是来自台湾嘉义阿里山来吉部落。我的州语，我自己是州族的一份子。那我自己呢，也担任州族塔山之歌古谣传唱的传习老师以及艺术总监。非常高兴来到德国这个美丽的国家，这个美丽的地方。那在这里，用我们州族的歌谣跟大家做一个朋友。那在这里呢，我自己也是基督徒，我非常的用心的想要把基督的爱分享给我们部落的人。我从国小老师退休之后，我就一直致力投入在我们州族古谣、州族文化以及州族语言的这样的一个传习工作上。那我希望将上帝给我们州族的这么美好的礼物，能够分享给大家。阿贝贝，谢谢大家，阿贝贝。
谢谢Voy老师。The person keeping us from getting lost and getting us on the train and making sure everybody gets up at the right time and just so organized is really want to thank is Yang Mui.
Hello, good talk. 我是杨慧野巴亚亚娜，我来自台湾阿里山州族来吉部落。4年多前，我结束了在都市的工作跟生活，返回家乡经营一间小餐馆，叫尤苏姆 有苏姆的周语是请坐的意思，所以就是希望大家都可以来共享美食。那我非常希望有一天，我能透过料理美食为大家体验一个非常舒适美好的餐饮经验。那也非常希望大家有一天可以来到我们莱吉部落，那我会为大家料理一桌美味的周族传统料理。对，那希望大家都可以来我们的部落体验我们周族的文化。谢谢，阿贝贝耶。
谢谢杨伟。As we're explaining, it's very important in the culture to integrate young people and get new, fresh ideas. And the next two people I'd like to introduce is Shayungu and Danivu.
Hello， 大家好，我是小妹迪亚吉安娜。Averio， 我是 Danivu Nota， 我们是来自台湾阿里山的周族青年。Nice meeting you all here today in Vienna。我今年21岁，我从小在部落长大。那初中之后，我就离开部落去外地读书。那今年我又回到部落工作。那在工作期间，我发现我对咖啡文化产生浓浓的情感，然后也在过程中一点一点的去认识各部落的咖啡豆，也去练习去品尝咖啡的味道。那也，当然途中也是会有一点困难，但我希望我未来还是能成为一个成功的咖啡师。我是离开大学之后，发现自己对艺术创作以及周族文化很有兴趣，所以开始往这方面去发展。然后希望我可以带着我的作品到世界各地旅游，把周族分享给大家。然后呢，我非常开心可以受邀到耶拿参加全穹顶艺术节。然后并与我们的族人们一起传唱周族的传统古谣，这对我意义重大。那我希望大家有机会可以来台湾，我们的家乡莱吉部落旅游，认识我们的家乡，喝一杯咖啡。I will you. Thank you everyone. Thank you Yena.
谢谢两位。And our final two performers tonight, and our youngest performers, is Salome and Hioyu.
阿菲菲，大家好，我是萨拉妹阿古亚娜。
阿菲菲，大家好，我是 Hioyu 迪亚吉安娜。
我很高兴可以来到这边，
我也很开心可以和大家见面。
我今年11岁，目前就读于莱吉国小5年级。我居住在一个很美丽的部落，虽然不像都市那么便利，可是我可以跟我的朋友一起大声的笑，开心的玩。因为从小看着哥哥姐姐们唱着古谣，所以现在我也会在部落的古谣队上练歌。
我今年15岁，目前就读国中3年级。我从小就跟着古谣队的大人一起练歌，学习自己族群的文化，也参加过族语朗读比赛，去过很多地方表演。虽然现在远离家乡上学，但我还是很喜欢周末回到部落后，可以和朋友一起唱古谣的时光。
哇，要结束了呢！
对啊，要下台了。
阿贝贝，谢谢大家。
Well, I want to, I just say we're so happy. I hope you can feel our happiness and joy of being here. And this is a great experience for all of us. I'd like to invite everyone up, and we'd like to teach everyone how to say something. Here we go. We'll try to get in the light here. Can everyone see? Okay, great. We'd like to teach you all a word in the local language. And tonight, during the performance, you can just shout this word out, okay? Is everyone ready? Are you ready? Yeah. Okay. San E. Would you like to try that? Okay, one more time. San E. So we hope to see everyone tonight. And if you don't mind, is it okay to take a selfie, Mickey? Can we take one and send back to our tribe? Okay. So everyone get in the photo. I'll try my best here.
Hauslights, so viel wie geht.
Oh, we'll get this. We'll get it. Okay. Are we there? Come on, guys. All right. Hi, everybody. Yay! I can make a FullDome film, but I can't take a selfie. Okay, so let me try that again. I'm so sorry. Oh, I think I failed my class. Sorry, just a moment. We can do this. This is going to work. Okay, video for Japan. Yes, okay, there we go. And there we go, photo. Here we go, yes. All right. Once again, hi everyone.
Yay!
Okay, got it. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you tonight. And our next is
Grab the microphone for a second. Thank you. Well, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know if anybody's here in the Dome who has ever seen something like this in the Dome or in a village up in the mountains of Taiwan. So thank you, Corbett. Thank you for this beautiful delegation of a village, which I feel immediately a kinship for. Can we be adopted to that village?
You already are. You said
oh, we are. Okay, well, we adopted the villagers and you, of course, into the Dome family. And so we imagine ourselves to be up in the coffee growing, which I found really, really attractive, if it's a coffee growing highlands. In a way, I feel so sorry for the millions of people who watch us in the internet who cannot be here tonight to see the live show. But I feel so happy for all of you and those who come to the night show to witness something which is truly extraordinary and which really captures the spirit of why Dome is so encompassing. It encompasses traditions, teachings, families, villages, modern art and indigenous knowledge. And in a way, if you truly look into your own ancestry, there's no one here who is not indigenous. And to have people who live that culture and people like you who can communicate this, we're really, really happy, thankful. Corbett, fellow alien.
Thank you so much, and fellow tribesmen.
Okay, yes, aliens and tribesmen. They are an unbeatable team. Thank you. And now it's the shortest introduction possible because Maximiliane Nierschel has already been introduced, but I also want to make sure that you all know that she's been a student of Bauhaus University and she handed in her master's thesis very, very recently. And I'm pretty confident that soon we will celebrate her master thesis bestanden. But first of all, tell something about dancing data. Maximiliane Nierschel.
Thank you. Sorry, I have to start with a technical question because I see my slide on the laptop, but it doesn't show in the Dome. Thank you. I will just start in the meantime with everything else. Yes, I've been introduced already.
Also for the next one, you have to touch the Wi-Fi router or the switch, whatever it is.
But I still don't see my slide.
It's not your slide?
No. It's another slide, but not mine.
Maybe you have to switch the Monitor. Weißt du, hast auf Monitor 1 das und das ist ein zweiter Monitor. I will try.
Okay, I will talk and I hope and they will figure it out.
Monitor 1.
I'm.
This is Monitor 2. Okay, we'll try that again. I hope so. We'll figure it out.
No worries. I keep talking. Okay, let's do this. I'm Maxi. I am from Germany, and as Mickey mentioned, I studied the Master in Immersive Media at Bauhaus University here. Before that, I was in more classical filmmaking, but I always was interested in breaking out of the frame. And here in Jena, I was able to do that. And this then led me also to be a concept developer for almost a year in Sweden at the Visualization Center that was also mentioned by Ahmed earlier today. And there, this idea for dancing data first came up. I then, at the same time, was already part of the project with Corbett, so many FullDome things happening at the same time and very different things. So dancing data, what I will introduce now, is really a very different project from the Little Warrior that I did in collaboration with Corbett. Like I said, the idea first came when I was in Sweden at the Visualization Center, where they do mostly science communication and dancing data. Now something is coming up. Can we have full screen? And then this is perfect timing. Dancing data is a FullDome concept for a feature FullDome film of 30 minutes. And it is a story about artificial intelligence and just as much a story about us, all of us, about humans. And then I need the third slide. That would be amazing right now.
We can't see that on here. So, so which one of this is the right one? Yeah?
Is there maybe a shortcut?
No, we're there. We just can't read what the screen says.
Can you just click on the green button and then I think it gets widescreen. Yeah, there
Okay, and now.
Swarm knowledge.
Yes, this is how it goes. Amazing. So we are at slide 3, perfect timing. When you go on Google and you type in artificial intelligence and you click on pictures, this is all you get. It's all blue. You either have humanoid robots or some sort of a brain. But of course, this is not at all what AI really looks like or what it is. This is just a very small part of it. And as AI is today part of our daily life and will be even more in the future, the pictures that represent the technology, of course, have to be way more diverse and way more accurate than what is the prevalent or predominant picture today. We need better images of AI. This has a number of reasons, not just because it's not really accurate if we only have blue brains, but we need more diverse actors that are developing AI, so it is really for the benefit of the whole society, because right now it's mostly white men who are developing it. We also need more diversity in the people who take decisions about AI, for example, politicians, also to serve everyone with this technology. And in the end, we need everyone from society because it is in everybody's life every day. Everyone needs to understand what this is about and not just having an idea of a blue brain in their mind. And there are initiatives about better images. For example, this website called Better Images of AI. You see some examples here. It's a British initiative that is collecting images that are way more accurate. And they provide it on their website, and according to them, they are highly sought after, and there is a big need for better images. They are just not existing yet. But in the end, of course, it's not just about images, it's about communication of AI. It's also the stories we are told, it's the films that we see. AI is not just about robots taking over the world. There's so much more to talk about, but only so little communication yet done. And this is what inspired me to do dancing data. In the end, like I mentioned already now, it is all about having a future where we have AI that is human-centered and that it is for the benefit of all. Of course, if you now think about AI, you think about something really complex and really abstract. And this is the big challenge of communicating AI. So how to tackle this? The tasks for communicating AI is, first of all, to make it understandable. It is about making it tangible, so you feel like you can grasp what this abstract complex thing is all about. It is making it experienceable, to really make it fun, dealing with AI and using all your senses so you can grasp this highly complex thing. It is about making it relatable, so I can understand why it concerns me and how and what I can do with it or where I should be careful. And in the end, it's all about making AI inspiring. So I feel like I want to be part of the discussion. I want to be part of a group developing something with AI, or I want to be part of someone in the political side, or wherever your position is then in the end. But it's all about engaging the people and getting them being part of discussing AI. And all of this led me to create Dancing Data. And for now, this is a concept for a 30-minute feature FullDome film. And during the winter now, when I was based back in Germany, I produced a 5-minute teaser that gives you a glimpse of what I imagined this to be. It was at the same time my master thesis at the Bauhaus University, as Mickey mentioned. And it will be shown later today in the afternoon. It's the third film, I think, that is in the first film block. And before you see it later, and I'm curious about all your comments, I just want to touch upon briefly what I focused on when starting to create the film. So what I really thought after looking into how the hell can I communicate AI, it's such an abstract, complex thing, I thought the way to go really is to put all the senses that we humans have in the focus, and also shared emotion. Because if something is so complex and abstract, I just need everything available. So I should address every sense that I can get hold of to make it easier for people to grasp it so they are not as overwhelmed, and to create something that is also more long-lasting, because if we connect something to emotion and to experience, we learn more easily and we also remember much better. And this is all of this we need so much for learning about AI. And then what's also so powerful is if we can learn in a group and we can interact with other people who are experiencing the same thing. So if we have emotion that is even shared with others, this helps with the whole excitement, learning process, and understanding. And I think for communicating AI, you just have to make sure that you use all of these possibilities to achieve this. And this is why Dancing Data is a FullDome film, because this is a medium that provides so many possibilities to address so many senses, and at the same time also is something where you can have a shared experience. And I think all of this together is so powerful and so necessary for this big challenge of communicating AI. The more concrete ways that I used to create Dancing Data was to come up with a story, a human story with human characters, so that the audience has a body in the experience. Through interactions of the characters in the film, the audience can also experience something. And it is a storyline that takes along the audience on a journey through the film, so it is an entertaining piece that is inspiring and really also takes the attention of people, because there's the story with human, with tension and with human wishes, with human problems, so that the audience can relate to and is excited to learn with the characters. My main characters are a Bolivian dancer called Tiva and a German dancer called Eric, and they are really the two that everyone can relate to, and they give the audience their body in the film, basically. And the third point are analogies and metaphors. So as you can see in the picture, this one, the poster, here, for example, I establish the image of the marble as a transparent sphere where there's something inside. It can be a sound file, it can be a letter, can be a material, anything that can be a data point. And as many of you, I guess, have heard, AI is all about data, about lots of data. And I wanted to find something that is really a physical thing I can imagine or relate to. And this is why I introduced, for example, this marble with something inside as a metaphor or an analogy for a data point. And then taking it one step further, all these data points in the film, they are part of a gigantic marble track system, which is another analogy for AI systems that are doing some really complicated stuff with data, but it's all based on data in the end. So I tried to give all these abstract concepts a physical shape. And to give you a short glimpse into what you can see later today, here you see on the left the two characters, Tiva and Eric. Tiva is a Bolivian dancer. She has a prosthetic leg. So she can only dance because of AI. So she thinks AI is really incredibly exciting because it made her dream of being a professional dancer come true. And on the other hand, there's Eric, who's a bit skeptical about technology, and he is not as excited that he's dancing here with autonomous drones. But as they then walk into the building, which is the AI center, it is a black sphere, another metaphor. Many of you might have heard the black box as a term to describe AI. I use the black sphere, something that you feel like you cannot look inside, although you can actually walk inside in my case, but you cannot look inside, yet at the same time it has a reflective surface, so it is a picture for how AI reflects the reality only in a distorted way. And the spiral path around this building is again made of marbles, it is made of data. And at this AI center, people can walk on the data and follow the stream of the data and can physically experience how AI is made of data. So my two characters, Tiva and Eric, they enter this AI center, which is the world of AI. And there, from room to room, they experience worlds that are physical representations of dimensions of AI. This has to do with the minerals that are needed for creating the hardware of AI. There is a room about the medical applications that are possible with AI, and so on and so forth. And throughout their journey, they learn about AI and they connect what they learn to their personal life story and how they are already connected to AI. And throughout the film, they get a way more differentiated picture. And as Tiva and Eric walk out of this experience well informed, so does the audience, I hope. And this is so much I want to say for now. I'm really excited to hear your comments and your thoughts on this project. As I said, it's right now a 5-minute teaser of what I imagine to be a feature FullDome film. And I see this very much also as a piece to experiment and test. I think there's so much to explore about characters in the dome, about human characters in the dome, about character-driven stories in science communication. There are many topics to talk about, and if any of you has something to add to this discussion, I'm more than welcome to talk about this. And thank you for your attention. This is Dancing Data.
Thank you, Maximiliane Nierschel, for this dance, or for the introduction to a dance that will come true later in the film section. And just listening to the talks that we had in this afternoon session made me aware that some of the people that you meet at the FullDome Festival have really some extraordinary biographies. Here's a young lady who advocates her FullDome film in Chinese. She has a study at Norrköping University in Sweden. She makes her master degree in Bauhaus University Weimar. She does motion graphic for a tribal indigenous FullDome film. And of course, she's totally versed in bringing emotion to AI communication. So I think this is something, just give her a hand for being such an extraordinary individual. And I think this is an encouragement for everyone. Yes, please, comment your own.
I want to share something to what you just said. Thank you for the kind words, but I also think that this is just possible because of FullDome, because this medium allows you to be that versatile and in so many places and with so many projects. I think the classic of film industry is there's just too much system and too much this is how it has to be, that it is much harder to be that kind of a versatile and I want to be everywhere person. But in FullDome, this is possible. That's amazing. This is why I'm here.
Here, here. This is why we are here. Here. Here, here. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you may be aware, connecting the talks in the Frameless Forum session has a lot to do with getting excited about what comes in the film and performance section. And we are not at the end of the Frameless Forum, not at all, because we still have one act to announce another act that will be realized this afternoon. And so I'm very happy to introduce Leon. Oh, he's just in deep physical meditation. Leon and Melody and Sophie with her amazing project Chanavar. Did I get this right? Yes. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. Probably you have to do some fiddling around to get the various hardware furniture moved from one place to another. And Leon is also a student of life, of course, as are the dancers. And he's also a student of Bauhaus University Weimar. And so he's also part of the project that's called That Spatial Feeling. And of course, we aspire to connect the emotional quality of the dome to the not so artificial tribal elements of the world and create performances and use the dome, the 360-degree environment with all its capacities and potentials, which were characterized by Maximiliane, and really push the envelope as far open as possible. So, Leon, how about hacking on your computers? Are you having fun there?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't...
Okay, then you just take over.
Yeah, we didn't... we're not having a PowerPoint presentation, so we're just showing some pictures. But I need to synchronize the screen, otherwise you won't see it. Or, I mean, whatever, then just pull the pictures there, somewhere. Here? Okay. Yeah, so how did this start? So, I mean, firstly I saw, this is, we are good friends for a very long time, and these two amazing dancers created a very nice performance, and I saw it one or two times and I was very inspired, and then we started talking about bringing, or I also heard that you guys want to do some, are you interested in like 360-degree sound and also a bit like the kind of more immersive things, and then I saw this program in the university, and then we started developing this idea, and we thought, let's bring it into this context, and yeah, let's combine this like glimpses of like modern contemporary art and the FullDome world, and as well the contemporary dance with the costume design, because it's the costumes from
Daniel Juhart.
Yes, he's a theater costume designer.
Also fashion.
Okay, cool. Maybe you guys want to talk a bit about how you develop the dance, the act.
Oh yes, another picture will come on the screen for you, the dome. Yeah, so we're both contemporary dancers, and we went to an exposition who showed art inspired by aliens. And we were very inspired by the emotional value or the emotional tension that the creature of an alien evokes. And we were curious to find our own creature inside our own spine, inside our movement. So as you can see on the picture, we're wearing costumes designed by Daniel Juhart from Berlin. And he made them inspired by our movement also. And we researched how we can actually transform as a human body into a creature to embody, I would say, an emotional state concerning topics like fear and dealing with the unknown, and also finding out about animalistic relationships when you don't really know where to put yourself in relationship to the space. So we did a lot of physical research on that, and I think we created a very dystopian environment in which we wanted to let out this animal and live this animal, and also shine light in that sense on this, maybe we see it as a dark energy that we all carry inside of us, of which we think is also very important to give it the space to be there as well. Might sound a bit contradictory if we're all for happiness and love and peace and unity, but I think we are both experiencing that using these dark themes also for art can actually be a very healthy way of acknowledging altogether that these themes are there under the surface, also on bigger scale in society, and how to deal with the feeling of fear and the unknown, and how to deal with your own creature. Can you accept your own Janivar in your own emotion and identity, and actually in the end maybe to integrate this as above so below, that we don't push off from our demons, but that we say, okay, let me take the time to see you, give you some space, hear you also, to then transform it into something positive again. So that was our personal motivation to research this topic. And we created a dance duet last summer on this, also dealing with our own personal stories in it. And we showed this, and you were very inspired, and we were very inspired by your music and ideas. And we actually needed music that was not licensed, so we needed new music so we can actually perform the piece. So it all came together very well. So Leon created a music piece especially for this performance altogether. And when he told us about the idea of the dome, I think we were very, very excited, because I believe this somehow contained shape of the space also does something to the experience of diving into this emotional state almost. It's like being locked into this dystopian world in a way also this interstellar alien theme that's a little bit in the air contributes to it as well, I would say. So yeah, I could keep talking for ages. Is there something more you wanted to address?
No, I'm just, I can just underline this. I mean, I was thinking about, like, you studied dancing actually, and I realized you probably also learned about talking about it. And that's why it sounded very good, what you just said. No, I was also thinking that, I mean, where could you better explore kind of a post-human or a bit of a dystopian transhuman environment than in a planetarium, where we as kids firstly saw this kind of like new planets or like other planets, and so I guess it fits in a way, and yeah, also thanks a lot for the presentations before us. That sounded very exciting as well, and we are actually also thinking about to work together in a longer piece, so create a little bit of a longer sound piece and visual art. Kaya did the visual arts, also to mention that he's also here right now. I mean, in Istanbul, but like kind of, I mean, he did the visual arts and he's gonna be here as well somehow later. And we are probably going to send you an application for Sweden to work on the residency, because I think we need some kind of environment to create really like, because now kind of like working from Berlin and Weimar and kind of like somehow, but to have the idea to have residency and to really work on a long piece and create the music fitting to the movements and the visuals and the backdrop. And yes, so keep our names in mind, and we wish, yeah.
I would really like you as an audience to invite also to take this as a personal trip, our little performance that we do tonight, to take the state of being or the, I don't know, the setting that we create, and to see what kind of stories you project on our movements. I think it's a thing that very much invites for you to make a story out of the movement, out of the visuals and the sound. So it's not such a clear story as, for example, the presentation that we saw before. And we really try to ask you for your own participation in that sense. We will come close to the audience also as dancers, as creatures, to fantasize about what it could mean to you. And do you dare to look at this creature? And what do you see this creature? In what state is it? And what do you feel for that creature then in that state? How does it feel to be in such a dystopian, scary environment with the light and the sound and everything? Or maybe it doesn't feel scary to you. So I think for me, it would be interesting also maybe afterwards to hear it back from you, what it does to you to go through a setting like that, although it's not that long. I think it's 9 minutes. Yes. Do you have something to add to that?
I think you said incredible things about the piece, also some music. No, as you said, we experience different things in the piece. For me, I really enjoy the creature, to zoom in, and every time we do it, it's different. So sometimes I would go out and be totally empty and think like, oh my God, I have to go home, I'm dead. And the other time I just feel a lot of energy and I feel like, wow, what happened to me right now? So yeah, I don't know, you will see maybe how I feel after this tonight. Yeah.
Good luck with recognizing who is who after we put the costumes on.
Yeah, that's it from my side.
One thing also, we talked about it before. If you want to have the best view to have the best view for the performance, it would be either here or there. This 2 rows. This one is the best place for the spatial sound and the visuals. But there you're gonna see the performance, and you're gonna have a nice come out of the sound and the visuals. So if there's enough space, go there and there. This is very frightening, this line.
Yeah, I would also say don't be too shy to stand up and just have a look if you want to see something, so you don't glue yourself into this position because we are down here.
Thanks. Have a very wonderful festival, Mickey.
Yes, thank you very much, Leon, Melody, and Sophie with Chanavar. And it's really interesting that you mention meeting the unknown on so many different levels. One of the unknowns that you can all experience tonight is, where the hell do I position my body in order to get a good view on what's happening and here? So everybody has to adapt to the reality that reality is always immersive, reality is always 360 degree, and where to position your own physical self is an ongoing challenge, a lifelong challenge. And the Dome kind of emphasizes this quest for who am I, where is the unknown, which daemon is my favorite, and which is someone else's favorite, which I fear. So I think you're raising really, and I really think you had done a really elaborate explain what it is that and why you do it, and leave a lot of space here for the audience to discover where their sweet spots and their dark demons, and are and how the one transforms into the other, which is basically a very immersive experience. And to put this in position with the other talks that we had in this session is really an amazing journey. Kind of, it's a fast-forward trip through space, alien beings, artificial intelligence, artist in residence. I almost said alien in residence program. So put this in your application. You'll get it immediately with Ahmed, and ending up with a mix in the next program that's coming in later in the afternoon, a mix of FullDome films and culminating in live performances along with using the dome as performance and projection space. So thank you for embarking on this amazing spaceship, and have a little rest and be prepared to encounter the unknown, the coalition of tribal wisdom and alien artificial intelligence, and all with very, very spatial feelings. Thank you, everybody. So I'm not sure, is our international FullDome internet audience still with us? 60, okay. So we have 500 here, plus 600 in the internet. That makes a good tribe. So hello, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more spatial feeling 17th Jena FullDome Festival. That's for the internet.